Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field.
This is what happens when a bunch of entitled, MAGA voting Americans stand on a box and push isolationist policy, like tariffs. You guys said that all the other countries will be affected by these tariffs, but we as Americans are untouchable. Let's isolate America. We don't need any other countries. Let's put America first. Well, the soybean farmers who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump fucked around and found out that that just isn't the case for them. Most of their soybean crops are bought by China because America does not consume that many soybeans. They rely on China to buy the soybean crops. China earlier this year came out and said, ew, we don't want your soybean crops. You can sell them to someone else because we're going to go to Argentina to get ours. That's exactly what they did, and like you just heard the soybean farmer say, they have nothing on the books. They have nobody to buy their soybean crops, and they are SOL for it. I don't know, maybe you should have put America first and grown corn. You should have switched to corn, I guess. You chose to grow soybeans, which just quite simply, I guess, is not putting America first. You should have chosen potatoes. If you wanted to go full isolationist and vote for a man who wanted to isolate us and, like, throw away our relationships with foreign nations, that's what you chose. And now no one wants to buy your crops that you grew knowing that they needed to be exported, yet voted for Trump anyways. Classic. My name is Mercedes Chandler. I don't feel bad for you guys. Give me a follow or you won't see my face again. Thank you. Goodbye.
1 in every 4 rows of soybeans in every field in the entire United States of America has to go abroad. China is the largest importer of soybeans in the world. They import 61% of the world's market. Last year, we sent around $12 billion, I think $14 billion worth of soybeans the year before. For the first time in 20 years, China's bought 0 soybeans and 0 new crop corn out of this country.
0?
So we went from 12 billion to 0.
Where are they buying the soybeans?
Brazil. You see, we lost 42% of our market share in the first tariff war. In Trump's first tariff war, the Chinese went to buying their soybeans from Brazil. They invested billions of dollars in Brazilian infrastructure. They have moved into Africa, and they're going to commercially farm in Africa. Since we left with USAID, they moved their Belt and Road program into Africa. So we've pretty much lost the Chinese market share. If we got 100% of the soybean business, Katie, for every country in the world except for Brazil and Argentina, we would still only have half the soybean business that China is.
Are you getting 100% of everything else?
Hello guys, now this is what happens when you vote in policies that you thought they were going to affect someone else, and later on they affect you. Now these are few of them soybeans farmers, and they were voting for these policies that Trump had, and they were always happy about these trade wars that are happening. And right now things are very tough. China has refused to buy the soybeans from United States. It's a game that Trump started, and it seems that China is winning the game. And right now, Brazilians are taking over the market for United States farmers. And farmers are really crying out. MAGA farmers, they are calling out the government and telling them, please help us in this. So I want us to watch these videos that I've compiled here for you. And then later on, I'll be sharing a quick commentary on the same.
So let me get this straight. In the 2024 election, nearly 78% of farming counties voted for Trump. That's not my opinion, that's the data. Farmers were some of the strongest supporters for him. But now, China, which used to buy more than half of America's soybean crops, said, nope, not anymore. Makes sense. And they've canceled purchases, suspended imports from major U.S. exporters, and turned to Brazil instead. And that leaves American farmers with silos full of unsold crops and no buyers. And what are those farmers doing? They're turning to Washington and saying, please bail us out. They want billions in government money again. But here's the thing. Many of these same folks cheered when Medicaid was cut. They fought against universal health care. They shouted that school lunches shouldn't be free, and they called welfare a handout. But when they need help, suddenly it's not socialism. Suddenly it's survival. Now, I want to pause here because I know not every farmer voted for this. There are farmers who saw it coming, who knew this was a bad deal, and they're being dragged under too. They're in the same boat as everyone else who warned about this and didn't vote for it. And for them, it's devastating. They're staring down, losing their farms, their livelihoods, everything. That's awful, and it deserves to be acknowledged. But for those who did cheer these policies on, who turned a blind eye to the warnings, who laughed when others lost healthcare and told them they needed to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, or didn't want food programs, your hatred, your racism, and your refusal to see the writing on the wall, that's what landed you here. And now you're finding out just how expensive that ignorance really is. So yes, you're in a hard position, and you probably feel like you're about to lose everything. But I hope you remember this moment, because the same government safety nets that you've mocked, that you've judged, and you've denied others are now the only thing you're hoping will save you. That's not rugged independence. That's not free markets. That's hypocrisy. And it's costing all of us.
Estimates show that China's retaliatory tariffs could cost American soybean farmers roughly $5.9 billion in lost revenue. How are you and other farmers reacting?
We're very concerned, Phil. We have a precedent from the trade war we went through about 7 years ago that was devastating to the American soybean farmer. Over that period of time, we lost nearly $20 billion of trade with China. Trade is 50% of the acres that are produced in the United States. And of that, currently 25% of our soybeans that we raise go to China.
Soybean farmers in Arkansas are begging for help from the Trump administration. China has reserved exactly 0 of their crops for purchase behind Trump's unprovoked tariff war, and I'll give you 3 things about it. Thing number 1, oh, now y'all want socialism. I get it. Handouts for white farmers, good. SNAP benefits for poor black kids, bad. After decades of subsidies that disproportionately went to white farmers, now you want the government to jump in and save you once again? I think it's time to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Thing number 2, your loss, J.D. Vance's gain. The couch cushion Casanova was an early investor in a startup called Acre Traders. They buy up fractional portions of U.S. farmland. This makes your vice president uniquely positioned to capitalize off of all these distressed farms. It's almost as if they have a vested interest in standing by and watching your farm fail. Thing number 3, where the fuck did all those red hats go? Y'all still them boys or nah? Out of all these images coming out of these farmer prayer sessions, I haven't seen one stitch of MAGA regalia. It's funny how all the merch disappears when he's not targeting immigrants and black folk. I guess the cult meeting got canceled when reality showed up. At the end of the day, this is the perfect case of reaping what you sow, but in this instance, the harvest is bitter. But what do you think? Should these farmers get bailed out, or should we just send our warmest thoughts and tariffs? Drop a comment, like, follow, and share. Click the link in my bio and find me on YouTube.
China is no longer importing soybeans or beef from the U.S. What's going to happen next? Farmers in Indiana and Nebraska and other states in the country are going to lose their farms. And when they do, corporations are going to buy up that land. The tariffs aren't bringing industry back to the U.S. Tariffs are not going to help small businesses. Tariffs are not going to help farmers. Tariffs are going to help corporations and more rich people like Trump. So you know what? Keep cheering it on, MAGA. Keep cheering it on, because you're cheering on your own demise.
Breaking news, MAGA farmers across the United States are crying and complaining about the Chinese not buying their products. What? Yes, the MAGA farmers across the United States are complaining, those that grow soybeans, beef, pork, wheat, corn, fruit and vegetables, dairy, are all complaining. I think they're whining. I think they want to bail out. What do you all think? I don't think bail them out. I think F around and find out. FAFO, yes, sir. It is estimated that the Chinese now have canceled 26 billion with a B, dollars of contracts that they were going to purchase from U.S. farmers. They're not going to purchase from U.S. farmers now. They're purchasing it from the Russians, from Central and South America countries, and from Canada to fill the needs that the United States farmers would have provided. But because of Donald Trump's tariffs, it's not going to happen now. So you know what? You voted for him. You get the tariffs. He told you he was going to do the tariffs. We are not going to use our tax dollars to bail them out. No. They use the tax dollars to bail out the rich, and I'm opposed to it. What do you think? Bail out these MAGA farmers that voted for Trump? I say, you know what? You lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. You voted for him. You voted for it. He told you he's going to do it. Now you get to suffer the consequences. FAFO. No bailout for any of these whining farmers that voted the wrong way. Suffer the consequences. Love to know what my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. No bailouts. Period.
We're just absolutely fucked as farmers, guys. Everything is so fucked, and I do not see anybody surviving this farm crisis that we're in. Guys, look, one of the best splorn crops that I have ever raised in my life. And because of the tariffs, China will not fucking buy it. And they are the only country in the world other than, well, they are the only country in the world that buys splorn. And so now I'm literally just chopping it and blowing it on the fucking ground because it's fucking useless. It's valueless. There's nothing I can fucking do to it. I am going to need government assistance to make it through this fucking crisis until these tariffs end. Look, I've never raised a splorn crop like this, guys. And this is just fucking heartbreaking to me. I don't know how I'm gonna survive. You know, Trump said he fucking loved us farmers, and here I am just blowing my splorn crop all over the ground. Hopefully he works a deal out where Antarctica and Mars will start buying this splorn and save the farmers. I'm sorry, splorn crop, but you're fucked.
One in every 4 rows of soybeans in every field in the entire United States of America has to go abroad. China is the largest importer of soybeans in the world. They import 61% of the world's market. Last year, we sent around 12 billion, I think $14 billion worth of soybeans the year before. For the first time in 20 years, China's bought 0 soybeans and 0 new crop corn out of this country.
Zero?
So we went from 12 billion to 0.
Where are they buying the soybeans?
Brazil. You see, we lost 42% of our market share in the first tariff war. In Trump's first tariff war, the Chinese went to buying their soybeans from Brazil. They invested billions of dollars in Brazilian infrastructure. They have moved into Africa, and they're going to commercially farm in Africa. Since we left with USAID, they moved their Belt and Road program into Africa. So we've pretty much lost the Chinese market share. If we got 100% of the soybean business, Katie, for every country in the world except for Brazil and Argentina, we would still only have half the soybean business that China is.
Are you getting 100% of everything else?
This is my 39th crop. I started in 1986, the year I graduated high school. I could plant an acre of beans in 1986 for $30. It irritates me that you don't have the guts to acknowledge that the people do not pay the tariffs. I don't care if it's John Deere, Case, Caterpillar, all that stuff is outsourced overseas. And the guy that pays it is the guy that purchases it. I can buy a bearing for a combine, and it's made in Taiwan or who knows where. Parts have over doubled in the last year. if you can get them. The dealer at Marshall has a backlog for almost 4 months because they can't get parts because of Trump's stupid tariffs. I think agriculture has taken a heck of a hit on a lot of misinformation, and he is not helping the farmer. I mean, we farm about 3,500 acres. We are going to be so far in the red. When are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass for these trade deals? And the tariffs. More so the tariffs than the trade.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field.
This is what happens when a bunch of entitled, MAGA voting Americans stand on a box and push isolationist policy, like tariffs. You guys said that all the other countries will be affected by these tariffs, but we as Americans are untouchable. Let's isolate America. We don't need any other countries. Let's put America first. Well, the soybean farmers who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump fucked around and found out that that just isn't the case for them. Most of their soybean crops are bought by China because America does not consume that many soybeans. They rely on China to buy the soybean crops. China earlier this year came out and said, ew, we don't want your soybean crops. You can sell them to someone else because we're going to go to Argentina to get ours. That's exactly what they did. And like you just heard the soybean farmer say, they have nothing on the books. They have nobody to buy their soybean crops, and they are SOL for it. I don't know, maybe you should have put America first and grown corn. You should have switched to corn, I guess. You chose to grow soybeans, which just quite simply, I guess, is not putting America first. You should have chosen potatoes. If you wanted to go full isolationist and vote for a man who wanted to isolate us and, like, throw away our relationships with foreign nations, that's what you chose. And now no one wants to buy your crops that you grew knowing that they needed to be exported, yet voted for Trump anyways. Classic. My name is Mercedes Chandler. I don't feel bad for you guys. Give me a follow or you won't see my face again. Thank you. Goodbye.
Everyone, I have some late breaking news. China now gets all its soybeans from Brazil because of Donald Trump's tariffs. So you got to think, how much money did the United States lose over this? How much taxable income did the United States lose? So now Brazil is China's #1 importer for these soybeans. They're getting it all from Brazil. So how do you think this is hurting the American people? Because of Donald Trump's tariffs, China does not rely on the United States for this product. So basically, the farmers are losing, and the workers and everyone else involved in the soybean industry, which is also people who deliver it, transport it. So it's a big chain, and they're all losing. So Mr. Trump, I bet Brazil is absolutely thankful for what you did.
Now, welcome back again. And, seeing the video of MAGA soybean farmers now struggling under the very policies that they once, cheered, is a striking, and a reminder of how political choices often ripple back into the daily lives of the people who made those decisions. And it's so unfair for them. I wouldn't say it's unfair, but it's so unfortunate for them because it is hounding them back, and they never thought it will get to this point. Right now things are very tough. These farmers, many voted for Trump with faith that his trade wars would make America great again, but now they are left in a very different reality. Their support for tariffs and economic nationalism, once was seen as a part, of protecting American agriculture. It was seen as a path of, protecting American citizen. Trump meant putting America first. But, this has a lot of consequences because you cannot isolate yourself and also want, to benefit from other people. That doesn't happen. You have, to engage others if you really also want to, benefit from them. It's a mutual thing. You give me a hand, I give you a hand. So I don't know if President Trump was ready for this or he never saw this when he said that is for America and only Americans can benefit from his leadership. When I do listen to the frustration in these farmers, I hear not just a personal struggle, but a broader story of disillusionment. Many of these farmers truly believed that punishing China, with tariffs would kind of restore America's bargaining power and also bring back manufacturing. It will also, bring back market, bring back, that power that America wants. And also, the protection to domestic farming. They thought it will all mean all of this. But international trade, doesn't bend so easily to political slogans. Markets are global. That's one thing that Trump was supposed, to take a keen on and note on. Competition is fierce. And so when the US restricted itself and Brazil eagerly filled the gap, right now it is not the same for soybean farmers who are in America. They are really finding it hard because I know, it's so hard. Some of these farmers do go to the banks and get a lot of loans, to support these farms. And they buy fertilizers, they pay workers to, work on the field. And also, all these little things that are needed in the farms, they all require finances. And I believe they went to a certain bank and got money, even if it's not getting loan from a government. Someone went back and plowed his profit and decided, I'm going to reinvest this profit again because I believe it is going to regenerate, again. And this happens. So I really feel that pain that they're having right now. And I would say it's as a result of their, mistake. The irony, is so painful. I can really tell. The same policies designed to hurt competitors ending up sidelining American farmers. Brazil, with vast farmland and lower production costs, seized that opportunity, to sell soybeans to China and far beyond. And I see this pain came deeper when instead of, China getting the soybeans from them, they went ahead and got it from Brazil. But again, I get to ask myself questions. What do you mean you start the war and expect me also to buy from you. No, this doesn't happen. It doesn't go this way. Of course, we have to accept that we are enemies and we are fighting. And so I ought not to buy anything from you. And so I would say that these farmers, they have to live with this reality. They have to understand they made a mistake and they better live with it. They have no choice. I would also say that I believe that this betrayal is layered. On one hand, farmers are angry at the administration for failing, to protect them, to protect their farms, to protect their well-being. And on another hand, they are wrestling with their own role in cheering the very policies that undercut their livelihoods. And supporting a trade war felt, so patriotic to them in the moment. But living with the fallout feels like a slow economic suffocation. And you don't know that you're dying until you die out of suffocation. So these farmers are really facing it hard. And by the time America realizes, man, it will be done. Maybe some of the farmers will, go bankrupt, of which some of them have already started. And adding to that, you know what? Global market doesn't wait, for political promises to fix themselves. Buyers in China have already adjusted, to supply. And Brazil is also deeply entrenched as preferred partner to China with new infrastructure and contracts, locking in long-term dominance. Even if US reversed course, tomorrow, it will take years, to build lost trust and, lost markets that have been lost during the administration of Mr. Donald. And this is the hard truth. These videos that I've compiled here for you, capturing. And what makes it worse is the silence. The same politicians who once promised that America's farmers will be winners in the trade war are now quieter about the fallout. And many farmers feel so much abandoned. That's why you see them crying in these videos. That's why you see a lot of them feel so much betrayed. Because when you see someone who got you into a given problem, quiet about your suffering, what comes in your mind? You're betrayed and you don't matter anymore. What mattered was their policies. And right now, because they're not working out, then you're of no value to them. And I see where that feeling comes from. There's a lot of lessons, to learn from this. And I believe that if they are keen enough, they've started learning them. It's a bitter lesson, of course. And it's all about globalization itself. Of course, no nation, no matter how powerful, can wall itself off from the rest of the world without consequences. The soybean crisis, they show that when you try to weaponize trade, other countries simply adapt to that. And sometimes they come out stronger than before, stronger than you could imagine. And you thinking that you are making your country great. Sometimes I get to wonder, Trump got into power saying that he's going to make America great. And a lot of MAGA supporters, came out and saying he's the best we got and he's going to fix America, make it great again. But look what he's done to America. Now that's a question that I would leave to Americans to judge themselves. Do you think that you made, for those, of course, not all of them that voted for Mr. Donald, but do you think you made the best decision ever to put him in power? Because I believe black people were here telling you, you know what, brothers, don't try to vote in Mr. Trump. Please try this person that we have here in hand. But because a lot of people care about someone who looks like them in power, that's why they're so messed up. Right now, a lot of people who are crying, they are the same people that were happy about it and were so much influenced by these policies that at last have come to be against them. I do say learn from experience, learn from not experience, sorry for that, learn from analyzed experience. Right now, you have to live with this reality because I think Kamala would have sorted all these things. I think the Democrats would have brought an equilibrium to all these kind of stuffs. But because some people wanted their person there who represented them, who they felt like he was there for them to fight for their rights, to fight for so-called the rightful heirs of America. We know America belongs to the FBAs. I don't have a lot to say about that, but we were talking about this one. So I believe they've learned a lot, and next time they will reconsider while casting their votes. They will look at policies that will stand for each and every person, policies that will also not affect their country, as a whole. Here it's not about making a decision for you as a person, but making a decision for entire nation, for the rest of the citizens, for your kids. It's going to impact them in one way or another. And this is what I have to say about this. It's a reality, and you have to face the consequences. What I can say is watch out, and next time just take a little time to think of what policies are you standing for. Can this accommodate each and every person? Can it accommodate a Latino, a black person, a white person, regardless of the race? And then, because I usually say that life is, energy. We exchange energies. And that energy that you give to the world, that comes back to you. If you give out negativity, you also get it back, because it's a cycle and it goes around, and once it makes a full circle, it will still find you on that same line. So you better want the best, happen to your fellow people, and that good things will still come back to you. Now this marks the end of this session. I've been your presenter, Shadrach. I hope I'm hoping that you've had a good time watching these videos and you grasped something. I also want to learn from you. So do share your thoughts, do share your comments, your minds in the comment section. I also want to learn from you. And remember, with those comments that you'll be sharing there, someone will also get a chance to learn from you. So do feel free to share your comments, to share your thoughts about this in the comment section. But for now, this is where I rest my case. I'm Shadrach, and I'm really hoping to be seeing you in my next video. This was your first time in this platform. Thank you so much for tuning up to this point. And if you've not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Please share this content to many people, and also like our videos. Just do this. Give it a thumbs up, and we are going to be grateful for that. Goodbye, my people.